complexity is in the eye of the beholder, but you've already admitted that there's a level of complexity. So you can't, because there are tiers of complexity, you can't use it as the defining factor. Don't you understand the point of distinguishing between two things? If they have something in common, you can't use that.
When I'm talking, you start talking over me. You're doing it right now. You're doing it right now, talking over me. You do not let me finish.
I don't want your goal to be met.
Do you expect me, when I come on your channel, to be as disrespectful as you have been on this channel? Do you really expect that?
Ask your question. Okay, I'll answer it. And then we'll call it a day.
I asked the question, do you expect me, if I come on your channel, do you expect me to be as disrespectful as you've been right here?
No, because I'm actually a good, you can go watch the discussions that I've hosted, the debates that I've moderated. I'm impartial, I'm neutral. I mute myself and I give my guests as much time as they need to make their point, and then I proceed.
Yes.
And
but we don't have a moderator here, so no one needs to be muted, right?
No, hey, I've actually had a lot of fun today. I'm just waiting for your final question for me to give an answer that you're not going to be satisfied with.
Okay, I'll skip everything. I'll skip everything, and I'll go to my final question. Are you an IFB?
See, this is just a question that I don't even know why it should even matter. I'm an independent Baptist.
It matters to me because it matters to the show.
NIFB just seems like a made-up term. So the answer to your question is, according to your buddy, Pastor Anderson, it's not a made-up term. And if it's a made-up term, then maybe he's one of the people who made it up.
Pastor Stephen Anderson is on his way to South Africa next week. Now, you've said the South African media is against you. Why do you think that?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious if you look at all of these stories. They all paint me as some kind of a monster, some kind of a hateful, evil person.
Daddy loves little Weezer.
You're not mad at Petey, are you, Daddy?
Oh, no.
And you're not mad at Steiny, are you, Daddy?
You mean the little pigman? Why, no.
You know, when in reality, I'm a Bible-believing, God-fearing Christian, and there's nothing in the world wrong with being a Bible-believing Christian. You know, not everybody has to accept this homosexual agenda that's being crammed down everybody's throat. And so, you know, I have every right to preach what the Bible says.
I know that you are, in fact, part of the group with Pastor Anderson, with Matt Powell.
I believe that any open homo is a pedophile, because if a man's willing to have sex with something as disgusting as another man, obviously they're going to feel like they can have sex with anything.
He's a fag.
Which is considered to be the NIFB, so that's where I'm asking the question.
Okay, so my answer to your question, your final question, then we got to shut it down because I've got dinner to make. The kids are upstairs. The answer to your question is I am a Baptist, just like millions of other Christians.
Are you a new independent?
No, that was the last question. That was my final answer. Unfortunately,
yeah, that wasn't the
honor. We agreed to an hour. It's been about an hour and 20 minutes. I just asked that you honor our agreement, and then we can do this the second round that I'm looking forward to. Okay. I had a lot of fun.
Do you want to set a date and time? Do you want to set a date and time for the second round right now?
Right this second, it's going to be tough because I've got, like, Thursday, I've got a big debate that I'm hosting. Friday, a big debate. I've got a couple debates in the next couple of weeks. We'll discuss it over email. There's no hard feelings. I enjoyed this discussion. But we can do the second round. And are you proud?
So when we're going to when we're going to discuss this in email, you will hereby confirm that you will be back for a round two?
Yes.
Definitely.
Sweet. Yeah, I have no problem. I think this has been a lot of fun. If you heard me laugh.
You mentioned Dinosaur Adventureland. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I just had to, it's irrelevant, but your video on 422 about Tyrannosaurus Rexes using their little vestigial arms to eat pumpkins. And you thought that that might actually occur. You want that taught in schools?
So I would say a rock would be really complicated. Now, the human body, I would say, would probably even more complicated. But they're both beyond dazzlingly complex.
You finally answered the question. It took all that to get for you to compare them based on degree. Okay, great. And they're going to laugh at me. Nice to have harmony.
I would say I believe the human body is more complex than a rock, but a rock is really complex. So there.
Okay, so there's levels of complexity. So then, if some things are more complex than others, how is it you determine which ones are designed and which ones aren't? If complexity is the hallmark of design.
You can take a rock and melt it down and get the lead out and put it into a bullet and shoot somebody in the head. That's a misuse of the rock. But still, the rock is useful. You can misuse a hammer and beat somebody on the head with it.
What the fuck?